So now we're going to go into the fundamentals of a hip hinge RDL deadlift pattern before I'm able to see if he has the right to put a bar in his hands to do barbell deadlifts. So the first thing first is we're going to assess his hinging patterns. So we're going to have his back up against the wall. He's going to have his arms crossed in front of his chest. His shoulders are going to be back. We'll make sure that he's keeping neutrality in his neck. So we want to make sure that his chin's sucked in. Head looking up, looking straight ahead. Good. We want to make sure that his pelvis is in line with his spine. He's keeping proper alignment with his pelvic floor, spine, his ribs. All that is staying in proper position that he's setting. We want to make sure that he's bracing. And he's going to bow forward and let his hips slide back and make sure that his hips can reach back and touch the wall at this distance first. So let's see. Give me 3 reps. Good. Okay. So he's able to touch from that distance. I'm going to have him scoot his feet forward a little bit more. Good. Go ahead. He's open. Reach back. Good. Good. He's lowering his hips up. Good. He's bowing his chest forward. Good. So he can touch from there. I'll have him inch his feet up a little bit more too. Good. Now go ahead. So reach back. Knees are out. Good. Reach back. Reach, reach, reach. So his toes are rising up a little bit. So it's showing that he's kind of it's taken away from his stability from his feet. So Eric, I would ask you to make sure that you keep the same type of pressure in your feet just like you would with a squat. Big toe, pinky toe, and heels really driven down into the ground. And try to bow forward more as you're sliding back. So you got the emphasis here in loading hips. Now try to bow that chest forward while keeping a neutral spine. So make sure you're locking everything in. Good. Good. Reach, bow forward, reach back. Good, 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 good. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Good, good. Keep going. A little more, a little more. Good. Okay. So he was able to keep good neutrality right here in his pelvis and his spine. However, his head was a little hyperextended on his neck. So one of the ways that we can troubleshoot it is by having him use a dowel rod right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this dowel rod. You're going to have your chin tucked in, so that way the top of your head, the middle of your shoulder blades, and the top of your butt are all in a straight line. And you'll keep the same distance away from the wall, and you'll still learn how to make sure you keep everything properly braced. Nice and tight. Knees open. Bowing forward. Obviously with not a machine right in front of him. Good. So again, head's in line right here. Bars touching his middle of his back, and touching the top of his butt right here. So I'm going to have you perform another hit. Lower this hand down a little bit more. Good. Okay. So top of your butt though. Make sure that your lower back's flat. Good. There we go. So brace. Good. You want to hold that as you bow forward. Try to actually move that bar up a little bit more. Good. Just so that way the bar doesn't touch the wall. Good. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Good. 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 A little more. A little more. And up. So the dowel rod helps him cue in and making sure that he's able to keep neutrality from the top of his head, his cervical, all the way down his thoracic, down to his lumbar. So another way that we can also make this even better than it has been is he's going to use his hip circle right here. What I'd like for you to do now, Eric, is that you're going to put this right up top of your knees here. And what this is going to help him do is help create torque in his hips, where he has to really force his knees out, but that's going to cue in to firing his glutes more, and that's going to allow his hip to be a little bit more mobile as he hinges forward and up. So put this right above the knees. Good. So keep a distance. Good. Now, just like having the dowel on your back, make sure that you keep your proper position. Your pelvis is aligned with your ribs. You're keeping your core properly engaged. Your shoulders are back. You're keeping it all in a nice, head back a little bit. You're keeping all this in a nice straight line. So give me 2 sound reps, just like that. So again, fight your knees against the band. Open, keep going. Good. Keep pressuring your feet. Good, good, good. And up. Strong lockout now. So in this next rep, after you get from that hinge position, really flex the legs, flex your butt nice and strong. Good. Tight, keep it tight, good. Knees open. Create torque right on here, good. Good. Strong lockout. I just want to get one rep with me facing forward here. Good. One more time. Good. So fight those knees. Good. Hinge back. Good. And up. Nice and strong lockout. Very nice. Good. So those are the ways that we can help troubleshoot that hinge pattern to make sure that I know he can keep proper alignment before he gets weight into his hands. Now that Eric is able to display that he can properly hip hinge against the wall and without any sort of load, now we're going to get a little bit of load into his hands with a kettlebell Romanian deadlift. So the kettlebell is going to be right over him. He is going to get down to pick it up, but he's not just going to go down and just pick it up. He's going to get into a proper position and a proper braced position. So go ahead. So nice and tight. Good. Stand up. Good. So you want to make sure that he's keeping his chest up, a nice proud chest. He's keeping his lats engaged in the back. You want to make sure he's keeping a position here and keeping a nice diaphragmatic brace. So go ahead. Good. Just wants to make sure, go ahead. He's keeping his chin neutral. So that way his neck is neutral, up, chin down. Good. His knees are turned out. Good. He's creating torque in his hips. Keep those arms nice and straight though. Good. And now stand up. Strong lockout now. Squeeze. So don't hyperextend your hips either. Like don't be like this. You just want to go. So it's just a. Correct. So make sure that you keep these guys tight. Arms stay straight. Lats are locked in nice and strong. Good. Go ahead. Nice and strong. Good. Knees out. Good. Strong lockout. Good. So try to hold that breath when you come up, then breathe out. Don't let that brace go when you're coming up because then you can lead your back into flexion a little bit. So nice and tight. Good. Knees stay open. Good. Chest up, proud chest. Knees open and strong lockout. Good. Shoulders stay back now. Good. Give me one more rep. Good. Make sure he's keeping tension here. Shoulder stays down, it's open. He's loading the hips up and his glutes and hamstrings. Keeping tension. He's open, good. And now strong lockout. Good. Now slowly but safely put the kettlebell down. Stand up and relax. So, same exact position. He's going to bend over. He's going to make sure that he gets down into that position. He's keeping, walk for a little more. Good. So we want to make sure that we're starting from the ground up. He's making sure that he's keeping his lats nice and tense. His chin staying neutral too. His basically one straight line back here. And to stand up, he's going to push the ground away with his legs. So we're going to stand right up. Squeeze nice and tight. Good. So bow forward again. You put the kettlebell down. Stand up. Reset yourself. So we're treating this just like it were an actual barbell deadlift. So go right down. So knees open, hips up a little higher. Good. So again, push the ground away. Squeeze nice and tight, chest up, proud chest, good. Put it down. And just give me one more rep. Reset position if you need to. Nice and tight, hips up a little higher. Good, brace here. Push the ground away. Hold position, good, and down. So this really helps us grease the movement pattern to when we actually get into a barbell deadlift. Now, if he was having trouble getting into that position from this distance up the ground, we will look to have him start from a higher position. So, with the kettlebell, please. Make sure, proper brace. Good, there we go. So I would have him start from a higher surface off the ground. So in which case he can practice pulling off the ground. So you can put the kettlebell down here. So get down to position. Good. And push everything out to the side. Stand up. Strong lockout. Good. And as he was starting to get more and more grooved into the pattern of the deadlift, I would just simply take another level away until we can actually have him perform it on the ground if he's capable of doing so. So now that he's able to display proper technique with a kettlebell deadlift, it's time to actually get a barbell in our hands. Now that he's displayed that he can properly hinge into position and he can hinge into position with load in his hands, he has earned the right to put the bar in his hands. So what we're going to start first is with a barbell Romanian deadlift. So it's going to come from an elevated surface, so we're going to have him walk forward. He's going to make sure that he's properly braced before picking the bar off the rack. So he's going to get down into position. We want to make sure that he's keeping his lats nice and tight under tension. He's keeping his hips his knees torqued out, so that way his hips are in better position. And he's keeping a good brace here with a nice proud chest here. So take a big deep breath. You all rack it. He's going to take a few steps back. Make sure his legs are in position. So before he hinges downward, he's going to make sure that his position is set with his shoulders, his ribs, his pelvis. He's keeping proper torque with his knees, and he's keeping a good proud chest along with a good solid brace. So, all right, go ahead. Chin down. Up. Strong lockout down. So same thing, you want to make sure you're holding that breath in when you come up, and then you can exhale at the top. But strong lockout with your shoulders too. So repeat. So just gonna go bend forward. Good. Back up. Good. So give me 2 more sound reps. I want to make sure everything looks good from the back. So knees are open. Good. Upper back stays locked. Good. And up. Strong lockout. Squeeze nice and tight here. Give me 1 more. Knees stay open. Good. Hold on to that bar nice and strong too. Yep. There we go. Good. And strong lockout, and now walk forward, and making sure that he's able to rack the bar properly to the rack. Good. One of the things that I failed to mention beforehand, that he wants to make sure he has a good vice grip of the bar before he picks it up. So you want to make sure, Eric, that you're having like a good grip and trying to almost break that bar in half, but that will help you cue into keeping the lats nice and tight and engaged too. So now that he's able to barbell or perform a Romanian deadlift with the barbell, now we can start to learn how to do deadlifts off the floor, but with a trap bar. Good. So now we're going to learn how to adequately and properly pick up heavier weight from the ground. And the best way to do that is by starting off with a trap bar deadlift. It's going to help teach the trainee how to learn to pick heavier weight off from the ground without risk of injury. And it's also going to learn how to teach the trainee how to create torque in the shoulders too, so that way we can get our lats to become more involved in the lift. So I'm going to teach you how to hinge back. So you want to make sure you send the hips back as you get down to position. So his arms are hooks, and his arms are pieces of string, and his hands are hooks. They're just basically holding the bar nice and stable. His legs and hips are doing most of the work. So you want to make sure that he's sitting back, making sure that the load is in his hips properly. He's still keeping a nice proud chest. He's keeping a good position in his brace too. And he's making sure that he's keeping his neck neutral. So make sure he's looking straight ahead. And I want you to push the ground away with your legs. So go ahead. So you're going to put it down. Stand up. So I want you to put it down and let go of the bar. Stand up. Take a second. So I want to see you try to torque your shoulders a little bit more. So when you get down here, I want you to really exfoliate your chest. Like really bring it up. So let's see. Good. Arms stay straight. Good. That's better. Drive your feet down. Good. Give me 3 more reps just like that. Good. Good. Much better. So the first few reps, he was letting his air go at the top, but his last rep was the way that a deadlift from the floor should look. He brings it up. He still keeps tension in his core, and then he's able to let his breath go when he's fully putting the weight down, to minimize risk of excess back flexion or minimizing anywhere else being overworked due to the fact that he wasn't keeping this nice and tight. Now we're going to go over how to adequately perform a deadlift with a straight bar off the ground. So everyone's going to be different as far as what stance is going to work out best for each individual. So based on Eric's limb length with his femur, with his torso, it's going to be more ideal for him to be in a sumo stance position. So his feet are going to be out nice and wide. I should also talk about footwear too. You want the client or the training to be either barefoot or in a flat-soled shoe. So he's got the old school Chuck Taylors on, so this is the most ideal shoe to be in when performing movements off the ground, such as a squat and a deadlift. So you want to get into position. So nice and wide. So again, we're going over the exact same stuff we just were leading up to this point. Making sure that he's keeping tension throughout his entire body, especially his diaphragm. So as he goes down, nice and tight. Shoulders are back, he's just holding his chest. And since he's in a sumo stance, he wants to really spread the floor with his feet and knees. As he pulls up, go ahead. He pulls the bar back against him. He's maintaining contact with the bar against his body the entire time. So go ahead, keep position, stand up against the bar. And I want to have him reset himself after every single rep. So go ahead, maintain position, chest up, pull the bar back. Good. He's having a good strong knockout with his hips. And he's also getting his shoulders into proper position too. So give me one more strong rep. Chest up, shoulders back, squeeze. Keep that breath held tight though. Give me one more rep with everything perfect. Nice and strong, chest up. Good. So, if I were able to cycle in conventional stance deadlifts with him, his feet be a little closer, or what we can have him do is we can have him perform a simple jump test where he gets his feet normal and he's just going to take 3 solid jumps. So if you go like this, walk back a little bit, just hop up, and whatever stance you land in, that's going to be most ideal position in conventional deadlift. So go ahead, just one stance actually. So look at your feet. That's where his body is as comfortable as possible in producing and absorbing force. So I want you to be in that position here. So we walk forward. Good. So toes out. Good. Bow forward just like you were before. Solid brace, shoulders back, chest up tall, arms straight, and pull back against the bar. Abs stay tight at the top and strong lockout with the hips. Stand up without the bar. Good. One more rep. Chest up. Back. Good. So, like we talked about, he was more ideal in a sumo stance based on his limb length, because in a conventional stance, his back does go into a little bit of flexion, which in some cases is okay, but not all the time. If I were to have him do more conventional work, I would raise the plates up a little bit or have a mat underneath there so it would be more in a black rack pull position where his back would be less in a flexed position. Grips that you can have for the deadlift based on a client's training level and experience and just what they prefer. So preferably you want them to have it go more into a double overhand grip. So if you want to go just get into a sumo stance, you don't actually have to pull it up. But go ahead. Bow forward like such. So you want your thumb actually to be around, just like that. So stand up. So that's a double overhand. Now the more popular one is the crossover grip, where one hand is up and one hand is down. So you would have to make sure that the client is keeping the arms nice and straight the entire time, because if this elbow were to go into more flexion or bend a little bit, that puts a lot of stress on that bicep tendon, in which case people have popped their biceps off the bone just because it's a lot of force for their bicep to handle. The most ideal grip out of them all that keeps your forearms and biceps safer is the hook grip. So basically, you would take your hand, you would grip the bar, but you would tuck that thumb underneath these 2 fingers here, in which case you would keep a much more sturdier grip on it. As far as a comfort level, it's not the most comfortable type of grip, but after a few sessions training with a hook grip, the trainee should be able to kind of get used to that type of grip, and ultimately they'll be able to lift a lot more weight without the use of straps, and also be able to protect their bicep tendon too.